On Second Shot, we tackle 2 new headlines every week to find out what kind of wisdom the world is dishing out today. And we want you to be a part of that. When you see a headline you want to take a second shot at, or if you're looking for advice, or just want to tell us what you think of the show, email us at secondshotcast@gmail.com. If you like what you hear, rate us on iTunes. This helps us move up in the ratings so more people will see us. And if you want to hear more, subscribe to the show so that the new episodes will get straight to you every single Friday. We love you. Thanks for listening and enjoy.
Heath Oaks is a millennial mogul whose ignorance on fire led him to fail his way to success. Jenny Anchondo is an Emmy award-winning journalist whose sharp eye and biting wit have led to her storied career in television. Together, they tackle today's headlines in a way only an odd couple with a dash of perfect opposite can. So kick back, relax, and join the conversation. This is Second Shot with your hosts, Heath and Jenny.
Welcome in, everybody. Heath Oaks he's on assignment, he's in timeout, he's out of luck, he is in trouble for ripping on Arby's last episode or a couple episodes.
As he should be.
He's actually working because it's end of the quarter. And he says, ain't nobody got time for this podcast right now.
That's
He's
right.
trying to have a really strong finish. So I'm here along with our regulars, producer Matt.
Yes, hello. Glad to be here.
And Zach, not repping the second shot swag, but repping his proper millennial swag.
I try to alternate. That's my thing. I'll come in and do one or two with it, and then I'll do one without it. I think about my wardrobe so much.
Hoodie Zach.
I'm so ahead of the game. Yeah, I don't want to look like I'm wearing the same thing every week.
It's so good. And you guys, we have a couple of really special guests. They happen to be good friend of ours, but we also feel like would just be valuable, second shooters to give their second shots. We have Jasmine Sadry, who's been on before.
Yes. I was given a fun fact that I am the only recurring female on this podcast.
You are. We always are getting new guests, and you're the only recurring female. So you guys know her from First and Tens, from the radio world, from the TV world, from all of it, and just from being my friend.
Which is the biggest honor of them all. Right. But no one's ever asked me back on anything. So thank you.
Oh my gosh. Then we also have and perhaps this is definitely his first time on Second Shot, Joseph Martin, who is a commercial real estate investor from No Limit Holdings. And I don't know how he got the website, but NoLimitHoldings.com. I thought for sure that thing would have already been taken by somebody. And he also happens to be Jasmine's boyfriend.
Bless his heart.
Yeah, just the housekeeper.
He just works here. So welcome, Joey.
Yeah, thank you. Good morning.
Oh, I should be professional and call you Joseph, but
Yeah, Joey's fine.
Yeah. You can call him other stuff, but.
Yeah.
So, okay. Yeah, Heath's, doing his thing, doing the work thing. Joseph, have you ever been on a podcast before?
I've been on one. Just
one.
Jasmine.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
and
First
he's
and
kind
Tens.
of like an ancillary character because our life
course.
always
Yeah.
comes up. But he was actually in studio for one of our Christmas episodes.
Yeah, so when we were in Scottsdale last year for Christmas.
NBD.
Oh my gosh, you guys have been together for how long now?
We both do that.
Oh my gosh. Okay, sighing.
Wow.
That long, huh? I know that
Sighing
sigh.
is not okay. It's not even that long. You guys are new to the.
Listen, all the married folks understand the sigh and then doing the math, right? And we're not even married. It's been just over a year.
Yeah, just over a year.
That we've been, but the best year of my life.
Good answer.
Aw.
Such a good answer.
Yeah, it's been great.
Okay, so we've got a headline, and this is fun too because we, it's like Heath and Zach and Matt and I always kind of go to the same sources for our headlines and stuff. And Jasmine and Joey contributed some good headlines for this one. And
We
we're
did
gonna-
our homework.
Yes, thank you for that.
We're
and
earning
gave us
our
some
keep.
good resources. This first one, Zach, it's just, it's a really sad one, but also one that we've just all been talking about so much.
Yeah, it's a little grim, but it gets better, so it's not all bad. Here's the headline. Navy veteran found in his apartment had been dead for 3 years, according to a local medical examiner. This is in DeSoto, Texas. The family of a man found dead in his DeSoto apartment last week, stricken with grief, plagued with questions, wondering how Robert White, a defense contractor who was 51 years old and a Navy veteran, had turned up dead in his DeSoto apartment after 3 years. According to Robert's mom, Doris Stevens, she said her son would call her twice a month. Things were great. 3 years ago, the call stopped. The family couldn't afford a private investigator. They went and looked at all of his former residences personally, but nothing turned up. They didn't know where he was. He just vanished. Mm-hmm. And then after 3 years in a DeSoto Town Center apartment complex, there was a locked unit that they couldn't get into. There were some units that were having problems with water. They ended up kicking the door in where they found him.
So awful.
Yeah.
This is so confusing to me.
Just hanging out.
I know a lot of questions.
There's so many things here.
Yeah, hanging out on the kitchen floor. And the mom is distraught, of course,
That's
like everybody in her
heartbreaking.
life is.
Yeah.
And the question she has is, how's this happen? How does nobody figure out that this guy was missing? He was single. I mean, he probably had some friends, but I don't know if he just never turned back up to work as a defense contractor or what.
The question here, I mean, the obvious would be, why wouldn't we go to his residence that we know of on record?
Because I think his mom didn't know. I think he had moved and stuff like that. So she went to his last known.
Right.
And she didn't know.
I don't think they knew he had
So
this
many
place.
questions.
But even if they were in contact and so close, like I'm confused. I talk to my mom almost daily. She knows where I live.
Me too. I talk to my mom like every 5 minutes.
Right.
Like if this podcast runs over by 30 seconds, she'll be like, "Where are you?"
Oh yeah, that's my mom.
Right,
Is
you'll
the
get a
same way.
wellness check.
You'll get a wellness check.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. Well, and the other questions are, friendships and work. And so I think there are so many unique situations to this one where, okay, so he's doing contract work. So it's not every day. They might just assume, okay, well, I guess he's not available anymore. He's not responding to us. It's not like a job where he goes to from 9 to 5. And then the other aspect of his family living far away. And so they're just like, they don't know his exact address.
Yeah.
They just speak on the phone.
They definitely mention here his bills.
Right.
How did nobody turn up? Everything was on autopay.
Yeah.
It was just pulling out of his
It's
account.
like the perfect
This guy had
storm.
enough money in his account that no one even saw him off the radar.
Yeah, his truck was sitting in the parking garage. Should have been collecting dust and had a bunch of advertising leaflets under the windshield wipers. Just nobody.
So weird.
Just slipped off the map.
Well, and weren't the conditions of the apartments not the best? There were some units
Yeah.
not using water. Is that
Yes, exactly, and that's what led to it because people were
Yeah.
not using water, and it sounds like it was not really, it was doesn't sound like it was
Habitable?
a luxury complex.
And I think they're required by law to check things like smoke detectors and carbon monoxide, and that the windows are functioning properly, that sort of stuff. So like
Totally.
they're supposed to do that annually. And like I know that in my apartment complex where I lived before Jasmine and I moved in together, they would come in and check the air filters, the door locks. It would just make sure that everything was
Yes.
functioning right. And so I think that there's definitely some regulations there where they're kind of derelict on their duties too.
Right. Well, and when I think of a second shot on this, it makes me think of all the different people who probably thought somebody else was going to check, probably thought somebody else was going to do something. And for 3 years,
3
nobody
years.
did. I think about that, and I also think about human connection. And the most painful part about this for me is that somebody would be gone from the earth and that nobody would know where they live. Nobody would miss them enough to truly investigate. And again, like the last thing I want to do is throw shade on the mom for not knowing his exact address
because we
She's
don't
in
know
pain.
we don't know the
Sure,
stories.
sure.
And he's an
Behind that.
adult, and he could have just moved, but like to not have a friend that would know where you're, that would know where you lived, or that would miss you, or that would wonder, gosh, what happened to him for 3 years? That's sort of like the most glaring for me second shot in terms of we've got to just check on each other, and if you don't feel like you've got connection, like be bold and go out and make a connection.
Yeah, and I think my second shot, when I initially saw this, when that word veteran hit me, this is such an awful way for him to go out of this
Absolutely.
world, considering everything that he's done for his country, for our country. When I see veterans specifically in this sort of situation, it's gutting to me. So that my second shot on this headline was, yeah, but at the end of the day, this was a veteran that died this way.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that really, really shook me.
Yeah.
Right, and the fact that people in his life probably knew that he was a veteran, and again didn't try to make that connection. I think we always think that people have other people.
Sure, someone
We
else
think,
will handle it.
So, and like, he probably has other close friends. Like he doesn't need me, or to check on him, or to do something nice, or to thank him as a veteran. And then people just pass the buck, I guess.
And I think people, like you said, it's all perception, right? Because we're going to assume, oh, please, I always see what Jenny posts on Instagram. She's probably got 600 friends.
Yeah.
Or I see what Zach posts or Joey posts. They've got all these friends, but it doesn't matter. Connect with someone because, look, it's all optics at the end of the day, right?
It's true.
It is.
And this is totally a smaller instance, but like Heath and I were just talking about, we do have a lot of great friends. Most of our friends don't have kids, so I think part of this was just they didn't know. But like nobody brought us food when we had her. We had 2 friends bring us like a meal. And when we can order favor, we can cook for ourselves.
it's
It's not a
the
big deal.
point.
But it was sort of like, oh man, again, it reminds me too, when I have friends that are more like those sort of outer circle friends, we're not really close. I'm like, oh, I'll drop off something. because maybe nobody else did.
Yeah.
I think about the efforts that we've made in our neighborhood to meet our neighbors, even like not even just having friends and family that know where we are, but just knowing our neighbors, which is something that I have to credit my wife for, because me, like I would get home at 6 o'clock and close the door, and you'd never see me again until the next morning, because I don't want to talk to people. But we have made a concerted effort to go and meet our neighbors and become friends with them. And in the event that something, hopefully not something this tragic, but in the event that something happened while maybe we were away, or just if somebody noticed that we needed help, they would notice that something's up. Like, hey, they haven't come by in a while, or they haven't said hello, or their house is on fire. I mean, I assume they would. Right.
They would help even if you had.
Or maybe they would just assume that someone else already called.
No, but honestly, Joey,
100%.
that's so true, though. We do.
Yeah. Oh, there's a fire. Everyone can see it. Someone's definitely called.
But it makes me think about how this guy probably, I mean, he I don't know how long he lived in that specific place, but nobody was reaching out to him. His next door neighbor or his downstairs neighbor wasn't knocking on his door and saying, "Hey, how's it going?" or seeing him on the stairs or whatever. It's too bad that I think we probably don't make enough of an effort just to meet the people around us for even just for those simple reasons.
I told you guys about the time that I went around to my apartment complex and dropped off cookies at everybody on the level.
No.
And
no, you didn't
nobody
tell me this.
said anything.
And they were probably terrified.
Really?
I think they thought that I was like a murderer or something. This was in
Have these
in
cookies.
2004.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So we're taking it way back.
Yeah.
And I thought I was going to be Susie Homemaker. It was like my first apartment on my own. And I made these cookies for Christmas and put them in, on these plates and put them out. It's from Jenny from L204. And nobody said anything.
Really?
You know what?
Yeah, because I think people are a little weirded out. Like, I get now maybe people were like a little weirded out by it because I hadn't met anybody. But it was like my attempt. But now I realize probably just going up and saying hi would have been like a better attempt.
I like the gesture.
Yeah.
I think it's great.
I'm going to bake you guys cookies.
No,
Yeah.
well, we had this conversation.
We
Joey,
will eat them.
Yeah, we will.
And say thank you.
Yeah, Joey and I had this conversation. There's this weird fine line now where it's almost like we've been socially conditioned to be weirded out by niceness.
Yeah.
Totally.
Even when it comes to like courting women, Jenny, like when we were single, like before, like when Joey was talking about this on our first date, he's like, I wanted to stop and get you flowers. Okay. 40 years ago, totally sweet. Now in 2019, okay, what does he want? What's in him?
What's wrong with
He
you?
laced it
Right.
with something. He's weird. You know what I mean?
Okay, I'm going to say something that's probably well, since I'm playing the role of Heath, I'm going to piss some people off.
Oh, no.
Perfect.
Yep.
Let me tell you about
Women
Arby's.
have ruined this in the way that we say we can do everything for ourselves, and there is a place for that. But I think we've made it really confusing for men. In a male-female relationship,
Absolutely.
and really in all types of relationships.
blurred the lines.
I think we've all blurred the lines. We're all so independent and so singular and so standalone.
Right.
Well, that someone's scared to like open a door or do something nice because he or she is fine.
Sure.
And I think that makes intimacy really difficult to navigate.
Blurs the lines of the roles just generally, because you can wear more than one hat. Right?
Yeah.
So you can be a female leader, you can be a CEO and a housewife and a mother and a whatever, right? Like you can be all these different things. But I think you're 100% right, especially like to your point, Jasmine, with social media and the way that dating has changed too.
Oh,
it changes
100%.
the way that we interact. It changes the way we meet. So those dynamics are completely thrown off.
Yeah. What do you think, Zach? What about your guys' courting thing? Like,
I'm where Matt was before he met Megan. When I get home at 6 o'clock, the deadbolt goes down. I don't talk to anybody.
You never see me
Yeah.
again.
I don't exist.
what about in like the dating? I'm asking you because you're younger than us, and I think
on.
like do your guy friends, do people in your circle, do they do those sort of are these old school gestures, opening doors? These are the things
Getting
I
flowers.
like.
It's
Getting
real
flowers.
surface. No. It's texting. It's ghosting. It's we want to stay as far away from each other as possible.
you guys
it's
are
weird
so
to let
screwed.
people.
This is not
Oh,
good.
I know, right? We're all doomed. Yeah, and I'm like 27. I think of the people below me. Shoot, I don't know what they're gonna do.
I think there's going to be a resurgence.
I hope so.
For sure.
I think there's going to be a
chivalry?
workaround. It's
Chivalry
okay. You can be strong and have somebody do something for you. Like I love when Heath fills up my car with gas or just like literally does anything for me.
Little things.
It'll be like somebody records like a cool Snapchat video for like their cool girlfriend or something,
Okay.
and puts it out there and
That's
tags
fine.
her, and it gets 1 million likes. And it's like, oh, that's so sweet. Like he
That's
did
so
that for
sweet.
me.
Okay,
That's what that's
so
gonna
that's
be.
the new
modern day chivalry.
Yes, it'll be
It's the new
digital.
chivalry.
That's interesting.
That's my theory.
I'll go ahead and open the door for me. But you know, maybe call me old fashioned.
I'm the same way.
But also like my Instagram post.
Yes,
Right.
please, at the same time.
Okay, you guys, I think good message here. Know your neighbor. Gosh, pay attention to those around you. We'll be back in the second segment of Second Shot.
He makes up words, she translates them. Heath and Jenny host more of Second Shot, coming up on RNCN.
Okay, you guys, we have been working on this partnership for a while. This is a company that we've used as a couple, we've used individually, and now they are on board as a sponsor. So we're giving a big shout out to myllc.com. You used them back in the day, right?
I've been using
like when
them,
you first got started in business.
I've been using them for 12, 13 years. It was the easiest thing in the world. If anybody's thought about setting up a company, paying big lawyer fees, they think it's a big, mountain of a task to take on. But with myllc.com, if you go on their website and you call them, if you're doing an S Corp, a C Corp, or anything, they're going to walk you through it. They won't make you feel dumb. And they're going to handle every process every year from now on from you, the stuff with the state and all of those things. So if you have any rental property outside of your own home, you need to have it in an LLC or an S Corp or something in order to protect you legally if you're doing side hustles. You need to invoice them from the legal entity because it can protect you legally. In myllc.com/second shot, there's a coupon code 99 myllc, right?
Well, yeah, all you have to do is go to myllc.com/second shot and it'll give you $99 off, which is super generous. And this is kind of like a limited thing. So if you were thinking about it, again, you kind of started your side business, you're thinking about getting it going, or you've got a big business. I mean, they work with all sizes. It's $99 off. The other thing, if you're already on the site, you can use the coupon code 99myllc. Again, it's 99myllc from myllc.com. This is the company we've used for all of our different entities and projects. They've been so great to work with, and we're just excited to have them on as partners.
myllc.com/second shot. Go now. Run.
Ready? Aim. Fire. Second Shot is back for another round on RNCN.
We were just having such a juicy conversation about TikTok during the break, and I was like, hold on, cut this off. I want to include everybody else in it. Okay, so is anybody in here on TikTok?
Yes.
I have an
Wait,
account.
who are
but
the
I
yeses from?
don't- Joey.
Matt.
Please
and
name
I.
yourselves.
Yeah.
Okay.
We both have TikTok
I
accounts.
feel like the oldest person by far on TikTok, and I know I'm not, but good grief.
Okay,
It's a rough scene.
It
It's
is
What-
not
what
it's not
TikTok?
welcoming, is it?
give your
No.
explanation.
I asked Joey this the other day. I'm like, what's a TikTok? Everybody's
Wow.
like on it.
It's like obscure short shock videos and like comedy bits. It's almost like extended
Yeah. It's like
Vines.
the-
it's Vine, basically.
Yeah, it's like the memifying of video content,
Yes.
basically. Like people will take a lot of times. What happens on there is a little you can create videos with music underneath them, and so a lot of times the same music clip gets used over and over, and everybody does the same dance over and over.
Is this one more
And
thing I
do you
have
remember-
friends on?
I do
This
love
is
some
overwhelming.
choreography.
Do you remember the Drake Kiki dance?
I was
when people
just gonna
dance
say
next to
that.
their car?
I
Yeah.
did
That was
that
huge
on Morning
TikTok.
Dose.
Yes.
Like,
that
that's
was
probably
huge
actually
over
how it
there.
got out.
Yes, yeah, because
Right?
you could rip the audio and do the same bit, and so millions of people are dancing next to their
Wait,
cars
so
because there's a convenient
Drake
app
needs
to like
to
post
thank
that on.
TikTok for that?
I think so.
Or
Yes.
I think
TikTok
so.
needs
Yeah,
to be
100%.
Drake.
That and the internet.
Interesting. Okay.
I bet flossing.
Right?
That's
With
how that got
flossing,
out.
yeah.
For sure.
Sure. was probably
Old Town
huge on
Road.
Okay.
Old Town
So-
Road. That
was a
song,
big deal.
I mean, is
Yeah.
100%
Yeah, there
you go.
reliable on TikTok.
Oh my gosh.
TikTok.
You guys, we should maybe this will
No,
be
I
like this
don't
will be a
want one more social media
subsidiary
thing.
No,
of our
right.
question
I
of
don't
the
need
week.
another app.
Is I want to ask our listeners, are they on TikTok or are their children on TikTok?
There's like 14-year-olds.
Probably.
It's
Yeah.
creepy. All the high school
Your
kids
children.
are
Yeah,
doing
it's,
TikTok.
it skews really
You'll
young.
feel like a predator on
Here's the
TikTok.
thing.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, though, like for businesses, our friend Marcia Prince, who's has Plant Chicks, she's vegan and she promotes that lifestyle.
She's one of my favorite
She's
Instagram
on
followers.
it, and she says so. She's trying to promote vegan lifestyle. She's trying to get everybody on it. So she's going on there. So I mean, I wonder, like for Joey, for commercial real estate, would that be a way to find people? Is that? I mean,
I think
are
what
you
I
doing
think,
business deals on there?
So what's
Our
interesting is
13-year-olds
that
buying.
Yeah.
I have a couple of sort of entrepreneurial masterminds that are focused on marketing and leadership. And the marketing folks right now are saying, basically from the top down, that if you're not on TikTok right now building a brand and have a presence before it has truly mass adoption, and this is not just by the people that are using it now, but these people that are using it, the 9, 10, 12, 15-year-olds, they're going to be your consumers and your partners 10 years from now, right? And if you build following with them now, then you don't have to spend money on advertising later. You've already earned their trust,
Okay,
right? So 100%.
And it's super valuable, Joey.
Yeah.
That was, I mean, so...
And it's not all garbage on there. Like there are people doing like cool cooking videos and showing you really short recipes and things like that. And there are people just making really interesting content. You know, I mean, think about YouTube. Like you can find similar stuff on there.
In all fairness, though, isn't everybody like, oh, this is the new hottest? I mean, what happened to Meerkat and Periscope? Like, that's the hottest thing. You better get on it now.
It'll go away in 5 years or something like that.
Periscope was great.
But until everything else went live, like Facebook and Instagram Live, that kind of washed it out.
I don't know. I feel like I did download TikTok. I've not joined, but follow me. I don't know what my handle is going to be. I downloaded it. I just haven't done anything with it.
Just lock that user and name up now.
Yeah.
Okay, what's our headline today? This is a festive one as we are here the day after Thanksgiving.
Cheery, yeah. During the holidays, you'll need a break from your family after just 4 hours. Very exciting. A new survey found that the average person will need a break after just 3 hours and 54 minutes with their extended family during the holidays. That's like the long run. That's as far as you're going to get.
The over-under, everybody's taking the under.
Yes. There's some other stats in here. 95% of people did agree that spending time with their family is important around the holidays. Of course, most people agree with that. 40% said it's stressful staying with family. Most said it's because it's tough staying in the same house. It's easier to stay in a hotel, which is a whole other thing. Apparently 30% said they'd enjoy the holidays more if they didn't stay with family. They'd get along better. Most people stay for 3.5 days. That's as long as you can go before you're going to go crazy. And people said the biggest reason they have a tough time is lack of privacy, people getting on each other's nerves, and family drama. So, why is it hard to stay with our families during the holidays? Go ahead. Solve the world's problems, Jenny.
Oh, why is it hard? Why is it hard? Because we grow up and we're individual beings and we have our own lives and routines and lifestyles. And then we come back into that old home and we go back to like who we were as a 16-year-old or a 14-year-old, which was like by and large the worst of you. I think that it brings out the worst because we revert back to that like childlike state. Whereas if you're an adult and you keep your house clean, you go back to your mother's house and all of a sudden socks are on the floor and you don't do your dishes because you think somebody else is going to. I think that that's part of it. And I think it also brings up memories of things that we have maybe evolved past. I don't think this is for everybody. I mean, I love going to my parents' house, but I do think that I am maybe unique in that way. But I can also understand how it can bring up sort of like nostalgia that isn't great because hopefully we've evolved. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I think because the obvious, right? Like you stated, you're back in a different sort of form of yourself. You've got, everybody has different belief systems and there's people who, you know,
my family is all over the place.
Belief systems, whether some people are religious or aren't, or they don't necessarily like the person you're with, or they don't agree with maybe your lifestyle if you're straight or not, or you just have this entire, and then, you know, people's drama always comes up like, well, you know, that's so-and-so who can't get their life together. And there's this person. It's just too many personalities thrown into one spot, and you're throwing alcohol into the mix, and a lot of times.
Yeah, sometimes it's true.
So it just doesn't help. And when you're in each other's faces and spaces, when you're not used to that, for 3 days, that sounds like torture to me, having to be with some of my family members. And they'd say the same about me.
I'm going home for 7.
Oh, and they'd say the same about me. It's just, we're all different, and not everybody's going to get along.
Yeah.
And throwing a turkey and some dressing around it isn't going to, you know, stick lipstick on a pig, if you will.
Sure.
So I think that's what it is.
Interesting. What do you think, Joey?
Oh, man. I mean, you know, I think our families know us as different people than we identify as too, especially as adults. And, you know, so often we strive to sort of carve out this identity of who we want to be and who we think we are.
Okay.
And then to your point, I think a lot of that is held on to, right? So you're in a bit of a time machine. And now here you are back where you've been fighting, you know, all year, several years, maybe you're away from your house, however long. And you come home. And then you are put right back in this position where everybody sees you as this little kid, you know, with this young boy or young girl that's like making mistakes all the time.
Sure.
Yeah.
Right? And then now, so the things, and you may not identify with your family at all, right? So your personality, your lifestyle choices, everything is completely different. And so here you are trying to make all that stuff work. And maybe you have a lot of stuff. You know, if you
Yeah.
have siblings too, that stuff comes out really strong during the
That's another
holidays.
podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I do think we revert back, you know, or we kind of like, it's almost like, oh, well, you know, when you were a kid, you wanted to be a firefighter. Why haven't you done that? It's like, well, it's not what I want to do anymore.
Right. Everybody
You know,
wants to do that when they're 6.
I only knew of 3 professions, so I said firefighter. Like I've evolved, and now I'm a performer or whatever, you know, whatever it is. But yeah, I think that families with the best of intentions remember. Like, oh, you wanted to do this.
Or it's, hey, remember the last guy you brought home that was better than this guy? And you're like, hey, Mom, probably not.
This guy's here.
This guy's here. This is awesome.
Yeah.
Try the cranberry sauce.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is hard, and then especially if you're bringing somebody new into the mix. That whereas you know how to navigate your family, but you're wondering, okay, how is the family going to navigate this person? How's this person going to sort of mesh or blend in? And like, is somebody going to offend somebody? It's a lot.
Yeah. It's intense.
It's a lot. What do you guys think? Is there any best practices on how to make the most of it?
Stay at a hotel.
Stay at a hotel.
Yeah. Get out.
Right. That's it.
Have pre-planned breaks, walks. If they have a dog, make sure you're the one walking it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Seriously.
You know?
Charlie's about to get so
Yeah,
many
100%.
likes.
Yeah.
Definitely.
You'll be worn
Or
out.
if you're the person
Yeah.
going to, like, let's say this is the first year that you're being introduced to your boyfriend or girlfriend's family, and like specifically, not everybody eats the same thing, and now everybody's either vegan or plant-based,
Gluten-free.
and gluten-free,
Keto.
bring your own
Fair
stuff.
trade, organic only.
Yes,
right.
Locally sourced.
Yes, and exactly.
Joey knows.
Joey knows. Be courteous. Bring your own things. Something. Don't
Like,
be
don't
that
expect
person.
someone to make a vegan Thanksgiving for you.
Yes.
You very difficult person.
Yes.
Get your own
Absolutely.
tofurkey, weirdo.
Yeah.
I think you got to have somewhere comfortable to escape to, right? Like if you're staying at your house, have
Nearest
either
bar.
either you're sure. You know, but
Nearest
like,
bar.
honestly, real talk. Yeah, I think it's easy for people to jump on their phone.
But then I also look at the other end of it. You know, there have been so many. I feel like this has been such a theme lately in the media is like, oh, holidays, so terrible, so hard. And then I also look at the perspective of the whoever it is, you know, whoever the grandma is, the mom or something like that. And they're just trying their best too. You know, they're just trying to like get all the kids back together. So also, you know, and you may think that their practices are different than what you want, but it's also like, man, they put so much work into it. And so maybe we can all just go and enjoy and, you know, find some common ground and commonality for a day, or as the study says, 3.5.
Yeah, they're trying to connect with you. And so often, like when they ask about something in your life that's a sore subject for you, like whether you lost your job or you just had
Yeah.
a tough relationship, they just want to help. They just want to be like, talk to me about it and let's connect like we used to back in the day.
Yeah.
And you're like, man, I don't want to talk about
It's all
that
about
right now.
approach, man.
Yeah, like I'm not into that scene.
Yeah.
I think that makes it.
Well,
real
I
tough.
do think that comes down to giving people the benefit of the doubt, right? Like, especially with these
What their
extended
intentions are.
Yes,
family
assume the
members
best.
and things like that. You know, you'll talk to people who the holidays are times when you start to see family that you may not have seen for a year, right?
Or longer.
Right. So they don't know where your life is necessarily. And if they ask you something that happened in between now, you've got all this knowledge that they don't. And so, you know, I feel like things like that where it's just easier to be like, if they keep pressing you on it, just tell them, but just be like, that's a little bit of a sore subject, or, you know, I don't really want to talk about that right now. And then hopefully they'll just let it go. But I do think that people tend to, someone says one thing and they're like, how could they not know that? Or how could they say that to
Yes.
me? And give folks the benefit of the doubt. It's your family.
And
you
keep
know?
a flask
Yeah.
in your handbag.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely.
Yeah, wow.
Those are the two big takeaways. Keep a flask in your handbag, but also assume the best. It always
Always.
works out. It
Yep.
always works out
It's
best
so much
when you
easier- or so
come
much better,
with an open
yeah.
heart.
Sure.
Yeah, when you assume the
Yeah.
best. You know, okay, you guys, we have a really good Thanksgiving-esque question to ask all of you. So we'll be back in the third segment of Second Shot.
Now that's what I call ignorance on fire. More of Heath and Jenny still to come.
Okay, we wanted to take a quick minute to tell you guys about a company called Energy Ogre. So Heath and I have been using this company for years to save money on our electricity. We've told you guys about it for months and months and months too. So basically what they do is they shop around your electricity and then they find the lowest option and then they manage it. So you know how if you notice your rates are going up, you might call around, but who really does that? So they do that for you. The deal is that it costs $10 a month, and if they can't save you anything, then you get the $10 back. So for us, what we noticed is it cut our bill at least in half. So we're talking, we were upwards of $200, maybe a little more than $200 a month. Now we're down to $100. Yes, even in the blazing summers here in the Dallas area of Texas. So it's energyogre.com. So here's Ogre. It's OGRE. So ENERGYOGRE.com. And they actually give us a deal for Second Shot listeners. So if you would like to use it, the discount code is Second Shot. So you can try it for free and see how it works. Again, it's really not a risk, because if you get on there and they can't save you any money, then they don't charge you anything, and you'll get to try it out for free with the code Second Shot.
Kick off your boots or suit up. The choice is yours. Welcome back to Second Shot on RNCN.
I have a little extra pep in my step today because I am dominating my fantasy football league, which is a part of Jasmine's podcast, First and Tens, which is like it's a female fantasy football, but also sports league, sort of reality show vibes. And I know nothing about fantasy, but somehow I won last night.
Somehow you have Lamar Jackson, who's like, he alone has put up like 23,000 NFL records this year.
Right.
Alone.
He's just crushing everything right now.
I mean, well, it's funny because Heath was like, you're having such a good day, but Amy, who you're up against, is having an even better day, and you should probably just go to bed. So I went to bed.
I'm sorry,
thinking,
but between your quarterback who put up 36 points and your wide receiver who put up almost 38.
Did she win by less than a point?
Yeah, it was close.
That's why he told me to go to bed.
That is the worst loss ever.
It's
Amy is steaming right now.
I know, and like Amy and I are like new friends, so I'm like, I don't want her to be mad at me.
Not anymore.
I would much rather
That's not
have
the way it goes.
I would much rather have the friendship than the win.
Right.
No,
And I think she would rather have the win than the friendship.
She's cutthroat.
She just revoked your Christmas card.
Yeah,
I know.
She's cutthroat.
Like, I
And-
kind of hate it because I'm like, man.
Well, we'll be talking about it on our episode today. So
Okay.
Jenny's going to make the other podcast.
You need that
as
killer
well.
attitude, Jenny.
Yeah.
That's right.
I don't have that. I just don't. We were talking about that. Like if I was on here and like all harsh and stuff, it would just, people would be knowing that it was fake, because that's just not my vibe. I want Amy to win because it means a lot to her.
No, you need
Okay.
some competitiveness, Jenny.
Okay.
You want to take her down.
You guys, I introduced Joseph Martin at the beginning. And we brought him on for a few different specific reasons. One, like I said, he is our friend and we think he's awesome, but we don't have every friend on the show. Two, because something that I've noticed about him and about the way that he posts and everything, I was always seeing his gratitude journal, his lists, everything like that pushed out. I want to know, if it isn't too much, the backstory on that and how, what made you kind of get into that practice and posting about that practice.
Oh man, I think on a surface level, so I got it through a bunch of kind of thought leaders that I follow, and I won't bore everybody with them here, but the thought is that at the basis of all true growth, right, is essentially gratitude, because gratitude, they say, subconsciously makes you feel like you've already received something.
Totally, yep.
And so you can kind of predict your future through doing that. And so starting by being happy for even the challenges that are in your life, it's a good way for you to really kind of focus and framing your mind so that you can receive growth and information on a regular basis. And the best way to kind of tee up your day is to start with that.
Did anybody in your life think that it was weird?
She's looking at me.
No, it's just like, I think it's a fair question. I know, because I do these things and I've had people think that it's weird.
So they might, but they don't come out of the woodwork. You'd be surprised. This kind of caught me off guard. I have an overwhelming amount of people, and I don't have a huge social following or anything. Overwhelming amount of people reach out to me directly and will say, thank you so much for doing these. I'm a teacher, and we share these with my class. And then we go around and we talk about
awesome.
gratitude,
Isn't that
right?
cool?
So these are
Yeah.
like junior high kids. And so I just thought it was really great. My thought was to help me and to help the people that are in my sphere, kind of see that that I cared about them, that I care about our relationships and the things that we're going through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's really neat. I like that you do it because I think it's a little bold. And it takes some just like confidence to just be like, hey, this is it. This is what I'm grateful for, especially, as a guy. I don't know.
Absolutely.
I think it's almost harder for guys. I think it'd be easier for me to do it than it would be for you to, but I really appreciate and enjoy that. The other thing I want to ask you about is commercial real estate. So this is something I've just always wondered about. I always think of these jobs and these careers that I have no idea about and that I have no connection to. And I think, gosh, how if I was like
I was better with math, I would do this.
How does one get into this if one's father is not? I don't know. The first one that came to mind was Donald Trump, but that's not where I want to go with this.
Right.
But
Like a mogul.
If your
Yeah,
dad or
sure.
mom isn't in this, so how did you
No.
get into the business?
Yeah, because his dad's a firefighter.
My dad, oddly,
and-
is a firefighter.
Okay,
yeah.
well, so he actually did follow his childhood
Yeah.
dream.
Yeah. That's a good question. So I've always had kind of my foot in real estate in some way. So, 10 or 12 years ago during the crash, I started doing commercial real estate part-time. And what we did was we worked with big groups of investors. And so really, I just loved real estate. My dad and I have always talked about building houses and doing stuff together kind of as a family business.
Yeah.
And so
He's done flips. I mean, so it's
Yeah.
kind of, yeah.
Get this man a
all right.
reality show.
yeah. and so-
Seriously.
right? Yeah, let's do it. And so real estate's always kind of been in there. I think that for me, for somebody who doesn't come from a background of like pedigree or anything like that in business, real estate is a way for like the common person to get in and build wealth and great income and a great life for themselves, kind of do it on their own terms.
Yeah.
And so that's what's always really attracted me by it is like, look, you can have a little hustle and great relationship skills and develop those skills and find a way to be successful in real estate. You don't have to be an agent. You don't have to be a developer. You can do all kinds of stuff. And so that's kind of what I liked about it.
I think that's cool. That's what's attracted Heath to it as well. And obviously
Yeah.
you do this, for your career. He's,
Yeah. Yep.
dabbled in it here and there, but I know that that's what attracted him to it as well.
Yeah.
Like I can figure this out and do this on my own.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really interesting, and I like to hear that you didn't have. I'm like, I didn't know. Maybe he did have some sort of cool connection, but you just kind of started it on your own.
I don't know. I don't have a college degree. I actually really, really struggled with structured education. I was labeled ADHD when I was younger, and really what that did was kind of puts you into a box where they treat you a certain way, and then
Of course.
like I was the person that could ace all my tests but couldn't do my homework. Really couldn't pay attention, and I really, really struggled with traditional education. So I tried going to like 3 or 4 different colleges and just quit. I got tired of it, and then so I went to work. And then fast forward, a little real estate, a little software industry. I moved to New York City. I ended up running Zillow's multifamily product team in New York City, and I built the whole thing out. And it was a pretty large business, and I was fortunate to work with some really, really smart people and have the backing of a company like Zillow.
Right.
And so. For me, ultimately, that's what gave me enough resources to make the jump and then finally choose to just say, you know what, it's time for you to do your own thing. And that's what brought me to Texas.
Right. That is scary. It's scary though, don't you think, when you have that really like cush job?
Oh, it's
I don't know
huge.
if it was cush. It was a lot of work, but I mean,
No, but that's
I'm guessing
that-
it was a pretty good job.
It was it was the best job for me. It was by far the banner mark in my corporate career. I made more money than I ever had, more responsibility, more growth, all that stuff. And I
But
would
half
tell
of
you-
it went to New York State because of the taxes.
Oh my God! Can we
Yeah,
talk about
true.
that? We can do a whole
Choose
episode on
rent.
how much I paid in my W-2 taxes the last year I was there. Jesus, yeah, it was terrible.
Come to Texas.
It's the best problem to have in the world, honestly. So, and a lot of opportunity along the way, and so a little bit of interest and drive, and it's a growth process like everything, kind of getting into something, you dabble a little here, you dabble a little there, you say, okay, that's not for me, but this is really interesting. Now I'm understanding where my skills are and my interests, and so it's really helped us align well, and we have some really big stuff going on right now.
That's really
Proud
great.
of, yeah.
I love hearing that. Gosh, how cool for our listeners to be able to hear that story. Zach, we got a nice email, didn't we?
We got a wonderful
our
email.
friend Bonnie.
How appropriate for just after the holiday. Yes, Bonnie said, hello, my second shop friends. Yes, I'm loving the sit-downs. One more way to hear things that I normally don't run across in my life. I'm learning new things and love the exposure to new ideas. Keep them going. I was so sad when Jenny left Channel 4, but I'm so happy to hear Jenny
Aw.
and Heath, and Matt and Zach every week. You all rock. Happy Thanksgiving, Bonnie. Thanks, Bonnie.
That's
thank
awesome.
you.
Bonnie?
Yeah.
And I endorse this because I'm obsessed with your sit downs. Jenny,
Oh, they're good, aren't they?
Joey and I
They
both.
are amazing.
They're so good.
Guys, I
Seriously.
pay my friends to come on here and pump me up.
No,
right.
I'm obsessed.
Thank
Keep
Do you have
them
my
going.
Venmo username?
Thank you. Yes, definitely. So we are doing only. Our plan initially was to do only 8, right? It was 8, and then so we're going to do 9. We're going to do an extra, and
Bonus
then
episode.
we'll
All right.
talk about. So that was good feedback from our friends, but we would like to hear more about whether people are liking them. We want it to be worth it. It is a lot of work to book the guests and get them in, and we've been getting
Yeah.
some pretty
You've
big
had some
name
phenomenal guests.
which is pretty
Tremendous.
cool.
Yeah.
I'll tease ahead to one, which will be controversial, but I think that's good. Leanne Locken from Real Housewives of Dallas is coming on, and she'll be, I think, the last Or let's see.
No,
she
she'll
comes
be
out
the
on
one right
Tuesday.
after this. Yeah.
She comes out on Tuesday, so make sure you're subscribed, and that one will come in, and she gets into some real deep
juicy.
stuff. So yeah, we've just been kind of hitting on, and make sure do not sleep on the Fit Men Cook one that came out on Tuesday.
Yes, I just saw
He's
that
really
one.
good. Also, he's
I'm so excited about that one.
He's single too, as a side note, for any of our lady
Not for long.
listeners.
Yeah, not
And
for long.
He lives in Texas. If you live here.
But wait, Jenny, how can people hear Second Shot sit downs?
Well, you just subscribe to the Second Shot podcast, and it will drop right in there. You search Second Shot with Heath and Jenny on any podcast platform.
Yeah.
Hit subscribe, and if you haven't heard any of them, you can.
Sit downs are part of the normal feed.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
if you're subscribed to this, you're subscribed to it as well.
You're
you
already
should have already
getting
been
it.
seeing them.
Exactly.
Happy holidays. Yeah.
So, our question of the week is, what from this year do you feel most grateful for? So one specific, what from this year do you feel most grateful for? Who wants to start us off, class?
Ooh, there's just so much.
Okay, I'll start us off and I'll do a quick one. Most thankful for so as you guys know, the show I was working on, Morning Dose, got canceled almost exactly a year ago. I was really devastated because I loved that job so much. It was the best job I've ever had. I loved it. So then a lot of different random opportunities have popped up. Like nothing, not the opportunity, little stuff, random stuff. So I've been thankful for the opportunity to try my hand at a bunch of different things during this phase where I also want to be prioritizing time with Brighton before she goes to school, and also expanding my skill set because I did one exact same thing for 15, 16 years. I did the same thing. TV news for 15 years. I feel like, this has given me a chance to be really vulnerable, to be like the new person over and over and over and over and over, and be a little bit beat down, and, see what else I might be good at. So I could have seen that as a negative, and many times over the course of the year I have, but I will choose to see this as something I'm grateful for now. Okay, who's next?
Oh my gosh, Joseph and I kept looking at each other because you just echoed what has been going on at our house. I am like you right now, where I've been doing the same thing for almost 20 years, and I almost like this whole year has been just a giant identity crisis for me. It's been,
and we've talked about that.
We have. It's been filled with moments of not knowing who I am, and then facing lots of rejection.
Yeah,
and I don't know. I mean, I haven't even been this rejected when I was dating. Like it has hit me to my core. I know it's bad.
Yeah.
And poor Joey has had to sit through so many of the tears and glasses and bottles of wine. But
Cases.
Yeah. I think
Boxes.
what I think I'm really grateful for this year is my relationships, my friendships, because like you,
that's good.
We were going. Yeah, you have friends and you're thankful, but now you have all of this quiet time to just sit in your feelings and really sit and really cherish the people around you, because my friendships, you, Jenny, specifically, have really kept me going this year when I have otherwise been really down and out and not had the most positive outlook on things. And so it's been really challenging to stay positive, but this year I'm just so grateful for the friendships I have in my life. And
that's great.
That's kind of kept me going.
And I appreciate the honesty, because I know a lot of people can relate to that.
It's hard.
What about you, Joey?
Oh boy, I think very much like the both of you. This year has been, I think, clarity. Like for myself, has really, really been a big thing. And there's lots of. I agree with the relationship stuff, but I think for me, building a business requires you to become someone new, and stripping away all those layers requires being objective and going through really, really tough stuff that makes you feel like you're not capable like you were before. And something that really kind of rings true with me is you really have to kill off parts of your old self to become someone new, to accept these new challenges and opportunities and relationships and people that help you level up your life.
And that's what he kept saying. He's like, you have to get rid of the old you. I'm like, but I love the old me. I don't want to change. And it's like, wait, I'm looking at this. This is not the way to look at it.
Yeah.
It's okay to change. Growth is good.
Yeah. Yeah, because if you continue doing that, you'll never grow, right? You'll just be the same person. You can go back to that because it's familiar, but you're basically just, you're kind of spinning your wheels a bit.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that's good.
But
Okay,
familiar
I like
is
that.
safe.
Yeah.
Familiar is safe, but you can always go back to it. I'm not saying it won't be there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But try some new stuff. What about you, Zach?
Not to bury the lead here or anything. What was the question again? People or things or moments we're thankful for? I want to make sure.
What this year specifically do you feel the most grateful for?
Oh gosh. Okay. Well, in this year, it's been a crazy year.
And I
for
know
me.
it's the day after Thanksgiving, but it's a month of thanks. It's a season
It's
of
true.
thanks.
Yeah. I've been thinking a lot about what I'm going to say
Holiday
at the dinner
spirit.
table when everybody
Yeah.
says, "What are you thankful for?" I've gone through a couple of professional shifts. I think it's a fair way to say it. that I haven't done before. I was working the same job for 4 years, 4 strong years, where I went to the same place every day and did the same thing.
Same paycheck, same consistencies, same safety net.
Got your health insurance.
And for so long, I listened to doing podcasts for folks, listen to entrepreneurs and small business owners say, you can do it on your own. It's not that hard. You can make it happen. And now I finally, funnily enough, find myself in a similar spot, and I find that, like, oh man, there's so many people in my life who I can lean on and talk to and get advice from, like all of you, and can help me out through this stuff. And so those are the people I really appreciate this year. Yeah,
That's great. Yeah. Invoice those people.
Invoice
Don't
be afraid to invoice those people.
Yeah, just send it.
It's true.
Yes.
Know your worth.
Yes.
Know your worth.
Okay,
That's right.
It's more than you think.
That's a good one. Yeah. Honestly.
So mine's a little bit of a weird one, but I think it has brought about some good changes in my life. And I got into a car wreck a couple of months ago.
I know.
I was fine, but the car was totaled. And at the time, it was our only working car. We had one that was broken down, and so we were kind of a single car household, which was driving my wife crazy. And I think for a while we had kind of gotten into the routine of just being like, all right, we're going to save up money here and there, and we're going to get it taken care of. But things would come up, and we would have little expenses here and there, and we never really got to a point where we felt comfortable putting down a lot of money on a new car. So this wreck happened, and it was almost like jumping into a body of cold water and saying, okay, this moment of clarity where it's like, I've got to figure something out now. Yeah. And at the end of the day, we ended up with we got 2 relatively cheap working cars, and we're back to, like, I mean, it was a first world problem, but it really was kind of impacting our relationship, because it was always like,
sure.
Anytime I needed to go somewhere, she was stuck at home, and she works from home, so she was like, I got to get out of the house. Right. But I'm like, sorry, I've got a gig or something like that I got to go do. So it really has, like, just seeing that I had it in me all along to complete this, and I just wasn't looking at it in a clear way. And when I was forced to, I was able to put all the pieces together and kind of bring order back into my life. So in a weird way, I am thankful that happened, and that everybody was okay and everything. But it did just kind of give me that moment of, all right, when you have to, you can get it done.
Oh, good. I love that.
That's huge.
Good. Yeah. Yeah, that is huge. Sometimes you just have to be pushed off.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just have to be pushed up. And I hope that, all of us will look back at this episode in 1 year, 10 years or something like that and think, gosh, now I'm even more thankful for whatever kind of turmoil or chaos might have been happening.
And what a phrase that Joey and I have adopted at home this year specifically, because we've just experienced such massive self-growth and couple growth, is it's difficult but doable. Difficult but doable. So
simple,
we're acknowledging,
simple, not easy.
This is not this stinks, okay? But it's not something that we can't handle and get through. So let's acknowledge that it stinks, but then let's also circle the wagons and figure it out.
You guys are great. This has been so fun. I went way over on time, but what you gonna do? Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. If you're watching this on the video version, you want to head to any podcast platform, search Second Shot. It'll be the one with our pictures on it, and hit subscribe, and you'll get all the Second Shot sit downs. If it's your first time, you've got 145 other episodes to listen to.
It's a holiday binge.
You have a lot of work to do.
Enjoy. You can find Second Shot Podcast on secondshotpodcast.com or in our super secret Facebook group. We are hanging out there, or on Instagram at Second Shot Podcast. What about you, Jasmine?
You can find me at firstandtenspodcast.com. That's all words. And Jenny's on there too. So if you don't like me, at least you'll like Jenny, and you'll take a listen.
What about
Shameless
you,
plug.
Joey? They would like to probably follow along and see your stuff.
Yeah, anybody that is interested in learning more about commercial real estate or how they can get involved can find us at nolimitholdings.com. We've got an email subscribe there, and we'd be happy to connect with you and kind of share what our world's like.
What's your Instagram? Is it public?
At jmarteen.
Perfect.
MARTEEN.
At Apple Zackintosh on Twitter and Instagram.
Solid.
Maybe a rebrand next year.
Yeah.
I don't know. People like it.
I
Don't
love it.
rebrand.
No, that's amazing. Don't ever change.
All right, people
Don't
are into
ever
it.
change.
Yeah, and check us out on our Facebook group, facebook.com/group/secondshot. It's a good time.
You can find me, Matt Stoker1, on Instagram. Follow me. The winter creepy posts are coming. It's the holidays.
Winter is
Fans of
coming.
the weird. You will find me there, Matt Stoker1 on Instagram.
Weird but lovable, Matt.
Yes.
Thank you all for hanging out with us.
Thank you.
We sincerely appreciate it. That was so fun, and we'll be back next week.